This lesson goes with Kittel and Hoffer's Introduction to Biblical Hebrew, Lesson 10. As always, we begin with the question of how we pronounce our sentence. So let's look at this sentence word by word. So try to pronounce the first word. It's vayavo, vayavo. Now the next two words. El aviv, el aviv. The next word. Vayomer, vayomer. The next word, avi, avi. Then we have once again vayomer, vayomer. And then try the last word, hineni, hineni. Okay, let's see if we can pronounce them in phrases. Vayavo el aviv, vayavo el aviv, vayomer avi, vayomer avi, vayomer hineni, vayomer hineni. Okay, and let's see if we can do the whole thing together. Vayavo el aviv, vayomer avi, vayomer hineni. All right. Okay, now our task is to parse and translate the verbs. The verbs in this sentence are clearly marked as vav conversives. So we have vayavo, vayomer, and vayomer. So first verb, vayavo, how do we parse and translate? Well, we see the vav patak double, so of course this is going to be vav conversive. We see our prefix yod, so it's going to be prefix. We see kamates under the prefix, so that indicates a cow middle weak. And we see an u-class vowel between the two radicals, which indicates an u-class middle weak. So our root, bo, our stem, cow, form, prefix, person, gender, number. We don't have a shurek at the end, so our prefix is yod with no complement. So third masculine singular, and of course vav conversive. To translate then, and he came, or and he entered. We need to read the rest of the sentence to know which makes more sense, but and he came will be how this makes the most sense in this sentence. Okay, our second verb, vayomer. This is the first word we learned in Hebrew. So our root, of course, amar, stem, cow, form, prefix, third masculine singular, vav conversive, meaning and he said. Then our third verb, of course, is exactly the same, vayomer, same parsing, and also and he said. So if we put these where they belong, then we've got a start on our sentence. And he came, and he said, and he said. Okay, let's see what else we can recognize. This word, el, this should be familiar to us now as the preposition to. So, and he came to. Now, let's skip down and look at avi. So here is our word, avi. What are the constituent parts of this word? What makes it up? Well, we have our noun of course, meaning father. And we have our first common singular suffix, e, meaning my. So, avi, my father. So, and he said, my father. Now, if we look then at this word, we have aviv, very similar to the word which we just saw. Once again, we have av as our noun, father. Here we have a vav attached at the end, which is third masculine singular suffix, his father. Now, normally, we would see the third masculine singular suffix attached directly to a noun. So, for instance, we would have beno or beto. Av is an irregular, which adds a hierarch yod before the possessive suffixes in the singular. So, here we have an irregular form, av being one of the words that forms in this way. It's extremely rare. But av adds a hierarch yod before its possessive suffixes. So aviv is simply his father. This is not the normal way that we form a third masculine singular. It is because the word av is irregular. So if we move our words up, then we have, and he came to his father, and he said, my father, and he said. Now the final word in our sentence is hineni. This is something that we have not seen before. So let's take a look at hineni. This word is made of two parts. The first word is the particle hine. So if you look this up in the dictionary, you will find hine. Sometimes it will be hen, but hine. Hine is the predicator of existence. This is something that we don't express in this way in English. So what does predicator of existence mean? Well, it emphasizes that something is present and it has a sense of immediacy about it. So often you will see this translated as behold, or here, or now. I also think it's helpful to translate it as jazz hands. So rather than any particular word, you just make jazz hands when you say whatever follows. Now, this is obviously an impractical translating mechanism, but I think it gets a good sense of the word. Now, in addition to hine, here we have the subject, the suffix ni. So hine ni, which comes to be pronounced hineni. Ni is the first common singular object suffix, me. Now, we have seen this previously as just e, hierarch yod, without the nun. Here it has a nun. So, for nouns and prepositions, first common singular suffix tends to be e. For verbs and particles, it tends to be ni. They look very similar, so you should sort of instinctually be thinking first common singular when you see the hierarch yod hanging off the end of a word, but the nun is different than what we've seen previously. So nouns and prepositions tend to add e, verbs and particles tend to add ni. Here, because we have a particle, hine, ni. Alright, so if we were to translate, then this would be, behold, me, right? Or, here I am, or, me, jazz hands. I'm actually making jazz hands, and you can't see them. Okay, so now we have all the parts of our sentence that we need, so we can translate. One of the issues in this translation is who the he is exactly. So, this seems to be the best translation. And he came to his father, and he said, my father. And he, that is his father, said, here I am. One other thing that you will notice here is Vayavo el aviv, and he came to his father. That is fairly clear. Vayomer avi. The avi there is not clearly marked as being speech. So one could legitimately translate Vayomer avi is, and my father said. But here it makes more sense for it to be direct speech. Vayomer avi. And he said, that is, the son said, my father. And the father said, here I am. Most of the time, direct speech is not marked in any clear way in Hebrew. So when we see the word vayomer or something that indicates direct speech, then we have to do a little interpretive work to decide whether the following word is the direct speech or is the subject of the one who is speaking. Okay, that's all for our lesson for today. But we are beginning in the next few lessons to read and then soon to translate Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 14. There is a separate video that I have uploaded in which I have pronounced for you Genesis 22, and you also have pronunciation on one of the CDs that came with the textbook. So over the next few days, I encourage you to listen to and practice pronouncing Genesis 22, 1 through 14. For today, only 22, 1 through 8. And look and see what you can translate, because you will recognize a fair number of things in that passage, although there will be some things that you have not yet seen. So work on your pronunciation, start seeing what you can recognize, and we will begin translating your first full biblical passage here in a week or so.